Hi guys, Gary here for JamVFX. Welcome to the new video. This one is a little tutorial about how to use Affinity. Yes, I am using Affinity as much as I possibly can. It is how to get Affinity files into your working pipeline if you're used to using PSDs all the time, particularly if you're animating or doing things in comp. It's different, obviously, because even though it has Affinity files and it exports PSDs, it doesn't hold information like a PSD does. So we need to do a few things to make that Affinity file, that export, a little bit more appropriate for the software that we're using. So today I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through the motions of how to export, what you have to do before you export, why, and then show you how to get the files into Fusion instead of Resolve in a way that makes them usable. So without any further ado, because I'm very good at doing a do is something that I do so well. Sorry. Anyway, should we just get into it? Okay guys, so here we are. We are in Affinity, and as you can see, I've got a little image here that I've created, and you can probably see by the wires, if I just zoom out a little bit, just move this around, and you can see there's set, essentially, there is elements which are in here which are larger than the actual canvas size. And I've got a left cactus and a right cactus, which are actually quite big. In fact, let me just do this, make this a bit bigger, and I will explain why I'm doing this in a second. Just go back to this left cactus and make this one a little bit bigger again, bigger. And I don't create Photoshop files necessarily as pieces of finished art. Because of the way I use them, what I tend to do is use it like it's a folder for my artwork, because in a lot of cases, if I'm animating something, I will need to be able to have stuff which is bigger than the actual image, but I store it in the canvas. So like this, you can see something, it looks more like a ship is in fact hoving through the middle of the shot. But what I've got there is there's three layers of essentially desert and mesa are longer than the actual artwork. If I press the / key between the Shift and the Z or Z on my keyboard, you can see basically that's all of it outside of the canvas. So you can see what I've got. It's a bunch of stuff that can be moved left and right, and that's the main point. I can animate them, because what's the point of having them if you can't animate them? So that's it. Background, all there, sky, and then I've got right cactus, and that's a little amalgam of a bunch of stuff. So I've got some little tiny points, and I've got the lines on the arm, and then the arm, and then the lines on the cactus body, and then the cactus body, and then the same with the left one. So there, and also all of this is vector based. So if I zoom in, look how close we can go. Ooh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Because if this was pixels right now, it would look like this, and that's not great, is it? However, unfortunately, we are going to find that the brushes and the vector stuff in here isn't necessarily as useful as it would be if I was going to bring it into After Effects, where it takes the vector stuff and goes, I will keep rasterizing that. So I can zoom in and in and in, and you never lose any of that lovely, lovely quality. Whereas pixels, yeah, you do. So let's just zoom back out for the sake of argument, or argument, as I like to say. Stop argumenting and do that. There we go. I'm going to just go back in so we can see this with a Shift and a plus. There we go. So let's get rid of sources there. And this is my pack. This is my pack, and this is saved as, let's just go save. That is saved as Desert Mesa, and that's at 50%. So that is that whole thing is HD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file, I'm going to export this as using the PSD output format of Final Cut Pro. I'm going to rasterize all the layers. I'm going to leave everything as it is. That's fine. I'm good with that. Smallest file sizes, yeah, it's okay. It's only 6.8 meg. I'm not that bothered. And I'm going to go export. And I'm going to put this into, let's go into artwork, raster, and I'm going to pop it in here. I'm going to call it just call it Desert Mesa. Yep, there you go. And let's just leave it at that, Desert Mesa. So I will now go into my Resolve, and let's go import media. we'll go into artwork raster and pick desert mesa.psd, import that as a piece of file. And you know what? Look at this. I can drag it onto the timeline and there it is. There it is. However, I don't want it there. I actually want it in Fusion. So I'm going to go to Fusion, and I don't want to try and drag this in, because if I drag this in and do this, it'll go, oh yeah, I get it. You want to be, then want to show a bit of this. So it then gives me access to all my layers. So I can get the merged one, but I want the background layer, yeah, or maybe I want the sky layer. Oh, that's the mid layer. That's not right. Let's look at the one. It's not called the same thing, but maybe it's the. Well, let's try this one. It's _2. This one's _2. This one's _2. Oh my lord! Look at all of this. There's a load of layers. Where have they come from? That makes no sense at all. To be sure of what's going on, I'm going to get rid of that median one in, and I'm going to import the image as you would do normally in Fusion if it's a Photoshop file, which is via Fusion, import, and PSD up here at the top. I then pointed at the same one. Let's go here, raster, desert mesa.psd, open, and you will see, if I just bring this window up so you can see, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. By the way, if you middle mouse button moves around, middle mouse button and left mouse button at the same time acts as a zoom. So you can see there are hundreds of layer elements. Well, there's probably easily 100. Well, that's not right. That's not right. But to explain what's going on here, let's go. Well, first of all, let's just go back in history. Let's get rid of this. Let's go back to our file. Now, what we've got here, it looks simple enough. We've got right cactus, left cactus, road, we've got curve, curve, and curve. They've all got the same name. Maybe that's something. But also, if we open up left cactus, for example, we've got the spines as a group, we've got the lines over the top of the arm as a group, then the arm, then the lines over the top of the body as the group, and a body. And I don't need all of these like this. I just don't need them in that group. They're all just called triangle. The problem here is that things with the same name sometimes don't get understood. Now, I don't need a cactus to be animating, so what I'm going to have to do here, and this is the reason why I made this bigger, is I'm going to go, okay, all of this stuff needs to have a name. Now, I don't want to do anything with the cactuses apart from be what they are, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them as big as I can in the frame, because that way I keep my pixels to a certain extent. So up they go, as big as they can in the HD frame. So I can scale them down, but if I need to get closer to them for some reason, I will have detail. Now, obviously, I'd like to go bigger than this, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So that's left cactus and right cactus, and they're all groups. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to just go save this as, and I'm going to call it Desert Mesa _002. And I'm going to go into this, and I'm going to select every part of this, like so. Right click on here, and I'm going to go merge selected. And that gives me a pixel of the cactus. So I can now pull this out of here, and left cactus will lose its little icon, and I can delete that. And I will call this left cactus. Okay. And I'm going to go up here to my right cactus, select the groups and stuff inside of there, and do the same thing, right click on the main bar of it and go merge selected, which gives us another pixel, which is our right cactus. So I'm going to call this right. It's a right cactus, this one. And I'm going to bring this out, put it underneath left cactus. Right cactus will then lose its little icon, and that'll go. So now a left cactus and a right cactus, which if I zoom in, you will see we have pixels. Even though we're not in pixel view, we're in raster view, we're in vector view, we have got pixels. So that means they are now fixed and we can't change them. So, okay, let's do this. I'm going to save that. Let's just go save, and let's go file, let's go export this one, and we'll call it the same name, because why not? Desert Mesa +002. I'm going to get rid of that plus there just for the sake of having it gone, because it does worry me that I'll get it wrong. So we've got a left cactus and a right cactus, and now we've exported that. So let's go back here. Let's delete this. Let's create a new Fusion comp. So in right, click in here, go new Fusion comp. Let's set it to 10 seconds, because that to me is a better number. Create. Let's drag this into here so we can see it. and then go to Fusion. There's nothing in there at the minute, obviously. Media out, and we'll go to Fusion, import PSD scene, and we'll go into vector because I didn't put it in the right folder. That's at mesa2.psd. Go open, and now we can see, well, we have less layers, which is good. Here's our media out. So I'm going to take the bottom. It says normal, but in fact it's just a merge. For some reason it gives it the name normal. If I drag that into here, and there we have our scene. Okay, well there you go. Well, that's great, that's working. I've got all the layers. I've got the background layer, which is kind of my sky. I've got the median in there, which I'm assuming is the, well, what is that? That's my bottom layer. Oh, okay, that's that. And then I've got, oh, that was that one, and then I've got that one again for some reason. I don't understand. Well, I don't understand. Why is that doing that? I do understand. I'm pretending. Then you've got your road, and then you've got your right cactus, and you've got your left cactus. So straight away, you'll go, oh, well, that's, oh, okay, well, let's say I've got that. Well, what if I need to move this one then? I want to move, let's just put that there so I can see it all. I want to move this, and I've got all the artwork out the side that I can just shift. So I'm going to add to this a transform node, which is this one up here. I'm going to drag this and drop it here, but here we get a blue bit. So yeah, so I'll transform this, yeah? So let me move this. I can move this left and right, can't I? Hold on. Where's the rest of my artwork gone? Where's I had other artwork either side of this. Oh, please no, don't tell me. Yes, everybody. If it's outside of the edge of your frame, it does not exist with the PSD, which is exported from Affinity. And obviously it's because people think you're just creating artwork to look at, which is pretty, but sometimes you need to use it for something else. So you need to make alterations to your file. And let's go back to Affinity, and this basically is the fundamental thing that you have to do, is go, right, okay, I'm working in HD, but I need all of this stuff like that. So what have I got to do? Well, I've got to make myself a bigger image. That's what I've got to do. I'll leave everything where it is. Everything's fine. What I will do, first of all, is I will rename this curved object, this thing which is made out of curves, which seems to be okay, but isn't quite okay. I'm going to rename this to Mesa 001, this one to Mesa 02, and this one to Mesa 03. So what we're going to have to do is make this and go, right, where we need a bigger image. So we go up to Document, Setup, we go to Resize, we go to Canvas, and we say, well, how much bigger do I need this to be? Well, the first thing I'll do is I'll move the anchor into the middle because I want it to scale from the middle. So let's say, do I need it to be bigger at the top? Well, I could just basically UHD it, couldn't I? So 2160 and go resize, and that fits it all like that, but that's still not quite right. So let's go, okay, well, let's do this. Let's go Setup, Resize, Canvas, and let's just unlink this for a second and go, let's make this 7,000 resize, and now that's massive. That's absolutely massive. So I can go over here and we can shift everything till it reaches about the middle. That's good, like this. And then we go File, and let's just save it as. I'm going to save it now, this time, as I'll just go back to here and go underscore pack. So that is my shorthand for this is not artwork. This is artwork that's basically been packed to be used as something else. So we've got the sky, we've got mesas 2, 3, and 1. We've got the road, we've got the left cactus, the right cactus. Everything there, in theory, should be fine. Our sky element, let's make this bigger. I mean, I'm still going to be working in HD, but let's just make this bigger anyway. It makes it look a bit more brilliant, and because it's brilliant. And then this road, we'll leave that like this. So let's save that and go File, and let's go Save. Yeah, Black Desert Mesa underscore pack. I'm going to go here and go Export, Export. I'm going to leave it as the final Cut Pro X, and then we go Export, and that exports it out here into. I'm going to put it in the right folder. We're going to raster, and here we're going to go Desert Mesa pack, save. Okay, all done. I'll now go back to here. I'm going to go to Fusion. I'm going to work just in Fusion. I'm going to go Fusion. I'm going to go Import PSD. Let's pick in the right folder Desert Mesa underscore pack. Open. And look what we have. We have our background. We have our sky. We have our mesa. We do have our sky. There we go. We have our mesa. We have a mesa, another mesa. We have the road. We have the right cactus. And we have the left cactus. So if I get to the media out and drag that into there, that's it. It's in that massive plane, which of course is now 7,000, and that's no good to us. So what we have to do is basically change it back to HD. And this is really, really the simplest thing in the world. This background, it's a 7K image. All I've got to do is click anywhere in here, so I'm not clicking on an item, nothing's selected. And I'm going to press this little button here, which is a background. Now that background, if we look at the settings over here for the image, is auto resolution, which means it's the same resolution as our project. And then the width here is 1920 by 1080, so that is literally what our project size is. So it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. I then take this and replace it here into here, and oh, look at that. We have an HD background rather than this image, which is ridiculously massive. In fact, I can just get rid of that, which means now that we can do alterations. Oh my days, it's Mosaic Central, isn't it? Yes, it is. There is a reason why there's Mosaic Central. This is not a video about animation, but I did want you to actually have a little bit of animation to see at the end. But what it made me realise is that I don't think I've seen a course, well, I'm sure there's one out there, a free course, let's say, of how to use Resolve's Fusion for animation. There's a lot of stuff about comping, but not a lot about animation. And so I decided I was going to, in fact I am going to, in fact I have already started, building a bunch of tutorials which are basically about how to use Fusion's Resolve for animation. That's right, we're going to use it as a comper using 2D artwork, but hold on, we're also going to use it for comping 3D elements as well. And the reason for that is because Fusion has a full 3D interface. It also has a particle system, and it also has a animating line, which you can do sort of like the trim sort of effect that you can do inside of After Effects. It's all in here as well. So we're going to get around to that as soon as we can and drop them over for you guys. So I hope you love them. And so here we are. This is the final little bit of animation, just caching away. You can also see the node graph underneath. Briefly, there's bits missing that you can't see, but you know, we can now get Affinity files into Resolve and working properly inside of Fusion. You can't go wrong with that. Thank you, Mr. PSD export. And all those little points that you have to do, let's just go over those one more time. Okay, so let's get down to these points in a nice little concise manner. Number one, duplicate your AF file, duplicate your Affinity file, and save it under a new name, something like filename_pack.af. So you've got your artwork, keep that, don't work in that, work on a duplicate. Number two, resize that duplicate's canvas to make sure you can see any hidden artwork. If you're going to be moving things around, you won't want anything cut and trimmed, which is what will happen when it's exported. Number three, scale any elements you have up so they're nice and big inside of your pack. That way you can scale them down. You won't lose any definition. You can scale them bigger and you'll get a little bit of pixelation maybe, but you won't get too much. Number four, rasterize and merge all your vector groups to pixel layers. Otherwise, again, you might lose information. Or you might get a file which has got lots and lots and lots and lots of little SVG vector files in there, and that's just a mess. Number five, once you've done all of that, rename all your layers to sensible different names. And then finally, when you come to export as a PSD, use the Final Cut Pro X settings because they're as good as anything else. And that's it, 6 simple little points to help you get your Affinity files into Fusion as PSDs that will work and not cause a mess to occur. That's it really. I hope you've had a good one. Keep an eye out for the Fusion for Animation course that I'm going to be doing. And I will see you in the next one.